Hey guys, Merry Christmas. You know, this is one of the coolest things that I've done with the show. And I'm so excited to launch today's episode because, for me, Christmas is one of the greatest times of year. And I wanted to do something just cool with this show. And I'll tell you, I was inspired by Heather Vickery and her podcast, The Brave Files. And she did a Thanksgiving show where she had people come on and do little snippets of what they are grateful for. And man, it was just a fun, inspiring, I just love that episode. So what I did is I reached out to a lot of the badasses who listen to this show and said, hey, would you share with me your favorite Christmas memory, your favorite Christmas story, so we can put it out to the rest of the world. So on this episode, Merry Christmas and get ready for some phenomenal stories. Growing up as a kid, Christmas was a unique and magical time. I really remember my favorite Christmas ever was a Christmas me and my brothers got into a lot of trouble. And it's funny. We lived on about a 500-acre farm in Kansas. And it was an old farmhouse. We didn't own the land, but we rented the house. And we kind of took care of the property in some regards. And my room was the top of the stairs, and, it was over the top of the living room. And because this was, an older home, there wasn't really this HVAC, setup. And in Kansas, it gets ridiculously hot. But so in the wintertime, we would literally take plastic sheeting out and cover all the windows up so that, you could keep what heat could be reduced in the house. This house was notorious in the winter of having the pipes freeze over, and we'd have all of our family snuggled into the living room with all the doors closed, all the blankets in, doing everything we could to stay warm in those moments. Well, because we didn't have, the ductwork running through the house to heat, my room sat along right above, this big old stove that we had. And it wasn't a wood-burning stove. It was, this cool, like, propane stove where the little bricks glow red. And that's how we heated the house. Well, because my room was right above that stove, my parents or dad had cut a hole in the floor and actually put a ceiling vent in. And so now as a kid, I could look through the ceiling vent and see everything going on in the living room. Well, it's Christmas time. It's always been magical in our house. I tell people that growing up, Christmas for us was very much like something you'd see in a Hallmark movie. The big tree, the sparkling lights, the tinsel on the tree, and then presents for days. I mean, Christmas for us was you always went over the top and did more, and it was just a very cool time. And this Christmas that I'm talking about, the trick was, we weren't allowed to come downstairs until we heard Santa go ho, ho, ho. So that morning, of course, all of us boys had gotten up early, me and my two older brothers, and we're waiting for Santa Claus to go ho, ho, ho so we can come down the stairs. And as we look, we could see everything going on through that floor vent in my room. So imagine, the Christmas presents are under the tree, things are being done, wrapped and everything else, and you got three boys staring down an air vent watching everything going on. And I kind of remember the expression on Mom's face when she hears us giggling, like little kids. Uh, uh, well, we were little kids, but giggling our heads off, because we would watch and see everything going on. And, I remember Dad doing this almost jokingly angry ho ho ho, because they knew they'd been caught, doing all their presents and everything else. But we came downstairs, and as always, when you first see that tree and the presents underneath, and everybody's in their pajamas and robes, and it's just a really, really, really cool memory and a cool time. I think my second favorite memory is a series of Christmases. Once we moved to Texas, um, we, were constantly in rental houses and doing well with what we had. But we had, our aunt and uncles, that really would go over the top when it came to Christmas. And let me tell you what I mean by over the top. And I don't say this in a negative way. I loved it as a kid. But my uncle had, Uncle Brian had the largest house out of all the families. Of course, he was the kind of self-proclaimed patriarch of the family. And, he lived with his sister, Leslie, my aunt. And, when Christmas time came here, if you've ever seen the movie The Grinch with Jim Carrey, and at the beginning of the movie, all the Who's are maxing out their credit cards and buying more presents than they should be. Yeah, that was my Christmas. So, imagine a room that probably had 9 to 10 foot ceilings that would have an 8 to 9 foot Christmas tree in it, and presents that would come out literally in rings 10 to 20 feet outside of the tree. And our families would get together, the Boivin families, the Reed families. We'd all get together and we'd open presents. There was so many presents underneath these trees that we had to take breaks while opening. And, as a kid, what I always loved that we did is if you maybe got a present you didn't like, there's a chance somebody else may have wanted it. So always at the end of opening presents, there was this swap and trade that would happen, and we would move presents around. And, it was awesome. It was one of the few times we ever really got all of our families together. And it was a cool moment. It was a long drive, to get out there, but you always wanted to be there because it was just a cool family gathering. And then last Christmas was our last Christmas with Jim. And it was awesome. Jim was, Elizabeth's dad, and a really, really good guy. And, his health was failing, and, he was so awesome on Christmas. And, a lot of people say during Christmas time that people fight a little bit more because they don't want to ruin Christmas for people. And I think that's what Jim did, because for Christmas Day, he was coherent and around, and he came and he hung out. And, it was so awesome to spend that time with him. And he unfortunately passed away on January 4th. But, that moment in time when, as a family, we were able to spend that time together was just magical. So, guys, on this Christmas, love your family. Embrace that time together. Remember, it's not about the presents. It's really about hanging out with your family and having a good time. and, you know, bring some cheer to someone's life, help somebody else out that is maybe struggling on their journey. Maybe they're struggling on their ride, but go and, be that spark for somebody else. Light somebody else's fire and bring happiness and joy to their world. I really hope you enjoy the rest of these stories. They're amazing. Merry Christmas, guys.
Merry Christmas. This is Alison from the Alison Donaghey Show, and I'm excited to be here sharing my favorite Christmas story, or at least the one I remember the most, with Donnie and, of course, you as listeners. I was teaching English in Italy, and I got really, really sick, and I couldn't walk, and I've been throwing up for months. I had numbness from the knees down, so when I couldn't feel my feet, that was horrible, but when I could feel them, it was painful. And we found ourselves in London, England, waiting to get a flight to come home because it was Christmas time, and it's really difficult to get a last-minute flight at Christmas. So me and my son and a friend of mine were hanging out in London for Christmas, and we found ourselves wandering the streets of London looking for a restaurant that we could have dinner at, and nothing was open. And we walked and walked, and I was in pain, and it was crazy, and we laughed about how crazy and preposterous this whole situation was. And my son even tried to piggyback me because it got so bad, and we finally found a restaurant that was open. It was a Lebanese restaurant, and we don't even know what we ate for dinner. It was this crazy collection of food, and it's one of those things where everything can go wrong, and yet you can choose to either look back at it with fond memories, you can find humor in the moment, and ultimately Christmas is about spending time with family and people you care about and building memories. And we certainly built a memory around that Christmas. And for you, I wish that you are able to have a Christmas hopefully not as disastrous as mine, but one that builds memories and one that is spent with people that you love. All the best and Merry Christmas.
Hello, my name is Cheryl Meyer, and I am Cheryl M. Health Muse, which is a health coach. And I became a health coach because 7 years ago, I got really sick. Everything in my body hurt. It ended up that I had autoimmune disease, and I researched, eliminated toxins, found a functional doctor, and I'm feeling pretty darn good now, and I'm 70 years old. So I've been asked to do a quick video on what do the holidays mean to me. They mean the same thing that they've always meant, but they mean it now in less excess. I don't have to be Santa Claus and buy everybody 18 billion gifts. I need to buy one gift that makes that person really happy. I don't have to go to holiday parties and eat in excess. I eat a little bit ahead of time, and I take a dish that fits into my diet, and that way I stay with what's good for my body, and I still enjoy the community that I'm with. If I go to somebody else's house for dinner, I do the same thing. I take a dish that I can eat. I take enough so that everybody can eat it, because the point is I want to be around the people I love, and I want to share the community. So the holiday season means for me doing special things for the special people in my life and making sure that they know how grateful I am to have them, whether I have homemade them a gift or I've bought them something simple that's perfect for them, or I've made them a healthy cookie recipe that's healthy for their body. Whatever it is, I want it to be the best possible, most healthy, glorious thing to have for the season to celebrate the people in my life that I love. So that's what the holidays mean to me. I want to hear what the holidays mean to you as well. Thank you.
Hi everyone, this is Dodson, and I just thought I would share one of my fondest Christmas memories. We used to go on Christmas Eve to my grandmother's house, and the tree would be there, but it would be completely undecorated, and we would spend Christmas Eve, the whole family together, decorating the Christmas tree, enjoying, of course, Christmas food, mostly snacks and stuff. And then there, of course, would be presents for some of the kids. They would open those presents and, get to play with those. But, the biggest part of it was that we would spend the time together decorating the tree. And that way, we were all together and we kind of participated in experience. And that's experiencing something together with somebody is so unifying. And that's something I kind of oftentimes think about and find is, fun for Christmas. Too often we are like, what are we going to get? Or where are we going to go and eat food? Or it's all about that. Granted, part of it's sitting and talking to one another, but talking to one another when you have a shared experience is so much better. And that to me is a big part of what Christmas is that being together and sharing an experience with somebody. So that's one of my fondest Christmas memories, is decorating the tree on Christmas Eve. Hope everyone has a happy holiday. And this is Donald Dodson saying thank you.
Dudes, what is up? It's Dom B from the Dom B podcast. I was trying to think of a funny Christmas story that I could share with you guys. But instead of doing that, I wanted to talk about the importance of family and friends and just community. Too often we're caught up in the grind of the week. We're trying to get more downloads and views and likes and comments, and maybe it's a new job promotion. Maybe it's trying to work more hours so you can have more money, or you're launching a new business or whatever it is. And the most horrible side effect of that is losing time with the ones that you love. That's why it's so important that when a holiday rolls around, whatever it is, Christmas, Thanksgiving, would you do it for Halloween? You can if you want, dude. I don't know what Halloween means to you. But anyways, even if it's a 6 or 7 hour drive back home, you make it. If it's a flight that has 4 or 5 stops, you make it. Because the most important thing in life isn't money, it isn't status, it's time. Time is something that the wealthiest of us all, the most popular, cannot get back. That's what makes time so valuable. So spend that time with your family and friends. Just go visit your family, dude. That's it. All right? I don't need to argue with you. We are finite beings with a certain amount of holidays that we can spend with each other. You should visit and love with urgency. I sound like a very depressed holiday coach. Merry Christmas, dudes.
Hi, my name's Erol Ertumen. I'm an international best-selling author and a Christian with a passion for helping entrepreneurs increase their visibility, credibility, and profitability using LinkedIn to attract their ideal clients and broker powerful connections worldwide. A Christmas story and what Christmas means to me. When I was a kid, I remember the very first time that I played Nintendo. I was so blown away by the experience, and I wanted a Nintendo so bad. I asked for Nintendo one year for Christmas, and I didn't receive it. I asked for Nintendo a second year for Christmas, and I didn't receive it. On the third year, I begged my mom for a Nintendo for Christmas. And that morning, when I went to go under the tree and take a look at the gifts, to my delight, there was a box that looked like a Nintendo. I was so excited. I went to go and open up the box, and what I found was not a Nintendo. It was a Sega Master System. I grew to love that Sega Master System. And when I reflect back on that, I think about how excited I was about receiving a gift. And during that time as a young kid and as I grew into my young adulthood, I really did think about Christmas excitedly, thinking about what I could receive as a gift. This translated into my pursuit of success over the years. And as I pursued success, I really thought about the things I could receive and what I could get by performing at a high level and by succeeding, what I could receive. What happened in this time, though, is that my relationship with Jesus Christ changed and matured, and my faith in the resurrection of Jesus Christ, it transformed my approach and my thinking. And as I reflect back on Christmas and what the meaning of Christmas is, what I think about is the true gift in Jesus Christ in his life. And I think of what he modeled in his life by serving everyone and not thinking about himself, but putting others first. And as I reflect on my pursuit of success and how looking to receive versus giving contrast each other, there's some significance there. And I'm always humbled when I think of the life and birth of Jesus Christ and how we were freely given this gift and how Jesus Christ's life modeled a life of service and what impact he has made to all of humanity in a short period of time. And so when I think of Christmas and I reflect back on how I've changed my perspective from receiving to giving and the impact that has made for me in my life and what that stands to give to everybody else in the entire world, it means a lot. Merry Christmas.
Hey, Donnie, this is Heather Vickery. I'm the host of the Brave Files podcast, and you ask us to send you our favorite Christmas stories. And it was interesting because I told you that I'm a little bit of a humbug, which is kind of crazy. If you know me at all, you know that I'm all about light and love and celebration and magic. And I do love all of those things about Christmas. But if I'm being totally honest, Christmas has been difficult for me the last few years. I'm a single mom, and since my divorce, I don't always have my kids with me on Christmas morning. I do get to see them either a little bit on Christmas Eve or midday on Christmas Day, but there's something really magical about watching the Santa tracker with them on Christmas Eve and tucking them into bed that night with the joy and excitement and seeing how happy they are in the morning when they wake up and see that Santa's come. So Christmas is a little bit difficult for me. But that said, I do have one memory that I think is really extra special that I would love to share with you today. So the first Christmas that my kids were due to wake up at their father's house on Christmas morning, I was able to take them out for brunch on Christmas Eve. This is actually a tradition I have with all four of my daughters. We go out to a very special restaurant and have a really wonderful brunch together on Christmas Eve. And when we got home from brunch, Santa had come. In the middle of the day on Christmas Eve, it was magic. The tree was lit up. There were presents everywhere. The stockings were stuffed. And my kids, who were between the ages of 10 and 3 at the time, were absolutely blown away. Even my oldest, who was a little bit too old to believe in Santa anymore, turned to me with tears in her eyes. And she said, "Mama, thank you. This is awesome." So if my Christmas angel is out there listening, thank you for helping me keep the magic alive. I am grateful for you helping me make that a reality. And I wish you all a really beautiful, Merry, Merry Christmas. But more importantly, I hope you have a spectacular new year filled with everything your hearts desire. You can make anything a reality. So go out and choose bravely. Merry Christmas.
This is Jaime Scott. I live in Colorado, and I wanted to tell you what Christmas means to me. Christmas starts at Thanksgiving and lasts for a month. And I know people think, oh, Christmas Day. It's not about Christmas Day. It's all of those things leading up to it. Your family comes in for Thanksgiving. You put up a tree that night. All the stores have the Christmas trees and decorations, all the colors, the bows, the sprinkly, twinkly tree toppers. You get to listen to music. Everyone's happy and joyful. What would it be like if we acted like it was Christmas every single day of the year? Then you have all these goodies and treats that you cook up with your family, your niece, your brother's coming to town, and you're all joking around and giving each other a hard time. That's what Christmas is about. It's about being with family. It's about being joyful. It's not about the gifts. It's not about who spent the most, and it's not about 100 gifts for one child. That's not what it is about. It's about sharing and being with each other and making memories with your loved ones.
What's up, guys? This is Jordan Harris from Devante Talks with Success on iTunes. And what Christmas means to me is family. What I mean is every year I go from Florida to New York by car. My parents and my brother and our exchange students get in the car and we drive 24 hours or 2 days from Orlando to Virginia, stop, wake up, and go from Virginia to upstate New York. And the reason why we do this every year is because we love our family. And I'd say this year is the year that I've enjoyed Christmas the most, just because I've always felt like it was a force of joy upon me. And what I've come to realize is that I just didn't enjoy joy that much. I felt like it was just something forced upon everybody. And I think if you just get the appreciation of joy and stop focusing on the chaos, but focus on why the chaos is there, is because you're trying to make life so valuable and important to the people around you that you love and appreciate, you'd have a better Christmas. So Christmas means family and the friends and the relationships and the people around you and the people that you're trying to celebrate. So from me to you, I hope you have a wonderful Christmas and enjoy the time and relationships with the people that might not always be there.
Hi, this is Johnny Rock from New Orleans, Louisiana. You know, Christmas time is my favorite time of year, and believe me, here in New Orleans there are a lot of favorite times of year, like Mardi Gras and Jazz Fest, and of course other holidays. You know, St. Patrick's Day is always huge, but each particular time of the year has a different vibe and various ways of celebrating it. If I were to be able to choose a particular time of year to repeat over and over, year-round, it would definitely be Christmas. I really, really do wish that every day could be just like Christmas. You know, Christmas to me is a time of giving and spreading joy. It doesn't matter what you give, as long as it brings joy. As an actor, one of my most favorite roles to play is that of jolly old Saint Nick, Santa Claus himself. Ho, ho, ho! You know, the joy I get from seeing a child's face as their eyes light up with amazement literally brings tears to my eyes. Like the song goes, the smile upon their tiny face is worth more to me than anything. You know, I once was let go from a Santa gig because every time a child would smile, I'd start crying. The director of the event came over to me and told me that they could not have a crying Santa Claus. I told her that it was tears of joy. Still, she said that it was freaking the kids out. Now, every Christmas, and for the last numerous years, I've hosted the Louisiana Film Industry Christmas Party here in New Orleans, where I collect toys and gifts to take to Children's Hospital of New Orleans, along with Santa Claus and special guests like the co-founder of the Children's Miracle Network, actor and recording star John Schneider, who actually just recorded and released a Christmas album entitled Merry Christmas Baby. Hey, check it out. And you know what? Listen to it year-round. Ho, 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 ho! Merry Christmas!
Hey guys, Justin Zerletich here from Zerletich Design Solutions, Beyond the Success, and Live Plus. You know, I live down here in San Diego now, but I grew up in small town Illinois, nothing but cornfields and cows, and Christmas was the big holiday. Grew up in a real, I won't say poverty, but we weren't, well off. Both my parents worked. My dad was an appliance repairman for almost 30 years before he finally moved up into a really solid, great position. But, we were never left wanting. I don't have one, Christmas story that stands out above the rest. Christmas just meant so much to me and my family, and every year that I'm here in San Diego, I wish I could go back and spend it with them. And we have a few times, but I need to do that more often now that I'm talking about it. But just one funny thing that my dad did. We were super young. I want to say it was just me and my brother right after me. There's 4 boys, so just us 2 at the time. Dad bought us a Sega Genesis, right when it came out. And one of the games that he bought with it was Mortal Kombat. Had no idea how gruesome and gory it was going to be. So we're sitting there on Christmas Day playing Mortal Kombat. My dad watches, one of the fighters get his head ripped off and skull and bones go flying out. And he and Mom go scurrying around, run out, call the game store, return the game, get us something else. I don't even remember what they got us. But that story just cracks me up. And God, I just miss Mom and Dad. I miss my brothers. And I hope all of you cherish your family, cherish the time that you guys have together, and have a Merry Christmas.
Hi, my name's Kevin Snow. I'm the owner of Time on Target in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And my favorite Christmas was the Christmas of 2012. The first Christmas after I got back from my deployment to Iraq. So, something you need to know about me is that I absolutely love Christmas. I love the sounds. I love the smell of Christmas. I love the lights. I love the food. You show me something that's Christmassy, it's probably going to make me smile. And Christmas when I was growing up was always this huge ordeal. My dad's side of the family, dad has 11 brothers or sisters. They all got together. They brought their families to Grandpa and Grandma's house. So there's a huge number of people there. We always went to church, came back. And if we did Christmas Eve, we had, Christmas Eve type snack foods. Or if we did Christmas Day, we had the whole big meal with more food than you could imagine. And then I would, do it again at the other side of the family. So Christmas for me growing up was always this huge, fun event. And I never missed it. Even through high school when I'd be traveling for wrestling, and after I graduated and moved out of state, I would always come home for Christmas. So the year I deployed, I got to spend Christmas in the least Christmassy place on the planet with a bunch of people that at the time, many were acquaintances, but I did not know that they were going to end up being a second family to me. So when I got home that next year and had Christmas with my family for the first time, it was pretty amazing. And the cool thing about it wasn't all the stuff I had missed, but being able to realize all the stuff I'd been missing before, and the importance of being with your family for Christmas and not what you were doing with them for Christmas. And the cool thing about that first Christmas is even though I was spending it with my family, the guys I became really close friends with, we all called each other. And we all checked in on how Christmas was going and had that little piece of our life maintained as well. So not only did I get to spend Christmas with my family, both sides, but I also got to spend Christmas that year virtually with my brothers and sisters that I had deployed with. And that made that Christmas really special for me. So everyone, have a really Merry Christmas.
Hi Donnie, Manuela here. Here's a little Christmas memory I like to share. I always have a spark in my memory bank when I think about Christmas in my childhood, and it has to do with Christmas Eve. I mean the day leading up to Christmas Eve. I grew up in Germany, and tradition called for quiet and reflective times before the holidays. Christmas Eve was the most magical day in my childhood. That's when the tree was secretly put up and decorated, but not for us to see till we heard the bell. No one had a tree up before that day. If we wanted anything under the tree, we better prepared something, like I played the flute and my siblings read poems or prayers. It tested our patience. We were afraid if we wouldn't behave, there would be nothing under the tree. So we had a day of tiptoeing around the house, doing whatever anybody asked us to do. And then when the sky turned dark, we heard it. The door to the living room opened, and we, the children, tiptoed like on clouds into the room, being careful not to make any mistake or push any of our siblings aside because we wanted to be first. In the darkness of the room, it stood, the tree lit with real candles, like magic. The pine scent was so real, like walking in the woods. It was like holy gloriousness to us. Just for this moment, to hear this bell again, I could consider being a child, my Christmas memory.
This is Meghan Michael, currently residing in the state of Ohio, Northwest Ohio. But I grew up in Northern California, part of a really big extended family, Hispanic family on my dad's side. So my Christmas story basically revolves around the annual Christmas tamale making event, which was always held on December 23rd in my family. We would all get together, my cousins, aunts, and uncles, at my grandparents' house, and we'd all show up, and the kids would get to work putting all the tamales together. My parents were smart, though. They'd usually drop my brother and I off, and head out for the evening. I don't know if they were going Christmas shopping or just out to dinner without the kids, but they would pretty much take off, and my brother and I would do all the work on behalf of our family. So smart parents right there. So we'd assemble all the tamales. In my earlier years, typically we're making, 300, 400 tamales for everybody. We'd gather on Christmas Eve with my dad's side of the family and eat our tamale dinner, and rice, beans, enchiladas, turkey, and mashed potatoes, kind of a mix of cultures. And then everybody got to take home tamales for breakfast on Christmas Day. And on Christmas Eve day, I would make cinnamon rolls with my mom so that we could have those first thing in the morning, because we'd be up very, very early to open presents. And nobody was quite ready for a big breakfast. So cinnamon rolls is what we would have on Christmas morning. And then my mom's side of the family would come over and have dinner on Christmas Day. So tamale making doesn't happen anymore because family is all spread out around the country. But I do still do cinnamon rolls with my kids. So some traditions carry on. So Merry Christmas.
Hey, Phoebe here from the Unbecoming podcast, and for me, Christmas is not just a day. Christmas is a season. I talk about on my podcast and on Instagram about seasons of life, of purpose, of business, of relationships, and every year, Christmas is my season of recharging, of reflection, and of celebration. So rather than racing into the new year or hustling through holiday sales or grinding out long days for a Facebook post to prove that I'm a quote-unquote real entrepreneur, I enjoy taking time and creating space to spend more time and having a better connection with my family and friends, embracing the spirit of generosity and gratitude, and for all the amazing things and people in my life right now, as opposed to being so focused on what I don't have or what's to come in the new year. I allow myself to be proud of not just what I accomplished this year, but who I'm being, who I've been, what I've learned, who I've become, or as my podcast suggests, how and what I've unbecome. But that's not to say that it's all serious reflection, deep conversations, and meditation. One of my favorite mantras is how you do this is how you do life. So here's how I'm doing the Christmas season this year. I am living Christmas to the fullest, which means indulging in guilt-free gluttony, mulled wine, a few too many inappropriate jokes, late-night card games, assembling toys, and displaying cards from random family members that I forgot about, and friends who adult so hard with their family postcards that I have not done, choosing between my two favorite ugly sweaters, excusing myself from the midnight mass conversation, sticking to my boundaries, giving myself the alone time that I need, really taking care and nurturing myself. And yep, you better believe I will be rocking that elastic life. So sweatpants, yoga pants, jeggings, yes please. So I hope you have a wonderful Christmas season, and cheers to what's to come and what you're celebrating this year.
I'm Shawna Barnes from coastal Maine, and so I was asked by a good friend of mine to explain about what Christmas means to me. For me, it's about getting back to basics and rekindling those family relationships that may or may not have been on the rocks throughout the year. It's about being selfless and putting others before yourself. It's about finding peace and joy and just embracing the moments. Like today, I'm in Maine and we have a snow day. And I'm sitting in my chair with the lights on the tree, looking out the window at the snow falling. I could be mad, because it's snow day. Husband missed work, kid missed school. But instead, I'm smiling at the beauty. And for me, that's what Christmas is about. It's about finding the beauty and enjoying those small moments. It's also about bringing happiness to loved ones, and I tend to do that with a lot of handmade gifts. We try to do mostly handmade or repurposed gifts every year in our family, as well as, paying it forward to others who may not have as much as we do or who may have nothing at all. Last year we provided about 2 cords of firewood for a local family in need who didn't have any and was at risk of being cold all winter. It's also about watching those fun and sometimes sappy romantic movies. I love Christmas movies, but I also love the originals, even the cartoons. Cartoons are my favorite because they're happy and they bring joy. And that's really about what Christmas is for me. It's all about the magic and the happiness and joy.
Stacey Magovern here, Point Blank Safety Services and Blue Family Fund. What Christmas means to me? As the wife of a police officer, my husband has had to work more holidays than not. This is true for all public service and first responders. Christmas for our family is simply whenever we can be together. We don't focus on any specific day. In fact, we've celebrated Christmas days before some years and days after other years. Some of my very favorite Christmas memories include delivering a Christmas meal to my husband and the other officers while they were on duty. So this year, I ask, as you celebrate this holiday, just please remember those serving our nation and our communities, both here and abroad. Merry Christmas from Point Blank Safety Services and Blue Family Fund.
Hello there, this is Terry Rose, Love and Lifestyle Coach with Blissify Your Life. Wanting to come and talk to you about the meaning of Christmas for me. To me, it's a time of reflection, celebration, and love. We come to the end of the year, so reflection comes to mind for me as I review all the accomplishments and challenges of overcoming, releasing and letting go, and new friends I've made and new opportunities that have come my way. And I always like to take that time of year, Christmas time, to really reflect on all of that. So for me, it's a time of reflection. In addition, it's a time of love, so much love and gratitude for another year of living and growing and expanding, that I always just am left feeling so blessed in just having another year of experience at the end of the year to come to celebrate, which then moves me into celebration of our Christ Jesus, who was born for us, and also to celebrate the abundance of love and gratitude that we're so blessed and privileged to have. Attention goes, energy flows where attention goes, and I choose to reflect, choose love, and celebrate every moment of my life and the love that I have in it and the love that I get to give away. And I feel so blessed and honored and privileged to be able to be a light to others, to help them as well and serve them. So for me, it's about reflection, love, and celebration. And may you always choose to stay focused on the love and celebrate you and your life every day in every moment. Thank you.
So that's it, guys. Thank you so much for everybody who participated in this fun Christmas, storytelling, just a fun episode. I was so excited when I put this together, that everybody came together to leave a statement, a phrase, a story. I was just really, really looking forward to this. And I've got to tell you from the bottom of my heart, I really, really appreciate you guys, man. I love the support you've shown. I love how much you've engaged, and it's been a fun ride this year, growing up with you guys and learning a lot. I'm really excited about what 2019 brings and everything that happens with it. So love you guys. Thank you so much for your support. Have a very, very Merry Christmas.